Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of We're Screwed Shorts. I am joined today by old boy James Ash. We just got done filming the show, and we decided to do this as a separate video because this week's episode of We're Screwed, we had Marcus Koch on. He's a director and special effects guy, and all. We were talking horror movies with him and stuff, so it wasn't really appropriate. But I wanted to talk about RFK, about him dropping out and joining forces with Trump. Just kind of wanted to do a quick little 10-15 minute video on that. And first of all, let me say I like RFK a lot. If Trump was not running, that's who I would have voted for this time, I think, because I really, really like him. And I enjoyed his speech that he gave when he dropped out. Very sound logic. If you guys haven't seen the speech, because CNN, Fox, all those people, they only covered a tiny bit of it and then they kind of cut off of it because they didn't like what he was saying. So it's definitely worth going to YouTube and watching the whole speech for yourself so you can see what he has to say. Very, very good logic. And then I watched later on that same day in Arizona, Trump is doing his rally and he starts talking about RFK and introduces him. And RFK comes out. And you want to talk about a fucking entrance, man. This was like a WWE WrestleMania entrance. It was fucking awesome. There was pyro. Hero by Rockstar was playing over the loudspeakers, super loud. So Kennedy walks out from behind the curtain stuff, right? Walks out onto the stage. There's fucking pyro going off. Hero is blaring in the background. He looks like $1,000,000 fucking bucks anyway, because fucking Kennedy's in great shape. He's a good-looking guy in great shape. He's coming out like a fucking boss. The whole crowd is erupting into cheers and just going absolutely apeshit. You know what I mean? Trump is talking about Kennedy and how much he respects him and all this kind of stuff. Because Trump and RFK have been friends for a long, long time. Just so you guys know. It's not like they don't get along. They've been friends for a long, long time. And so then Kennedy comes up, Trump introduces him and gives him the mic. And Kennedy proceeds to give a speech where he is basically telling people why he's doing what he's doing and that you shouldn't be voting for Kamala Harris if you're a Democrat, because that's not the Democrat Party anymore, that they're communists. You know, and he lays it out. And I would also say, go look that up on YouTube and watch that entrance. Is amazing. And then watch what he has to say. You know, and it's kind of interesting that he's a lifelong Democrat, a very respected Democrat, okay, who comes from a lifelong Democratic Party family, right? The Kennedys are Democrat royalty. His vice president, lifelong Democrat, comes from a Democrat state and a Democrat family, right? And they're both telling you that Kamala's bad news. They're both telling you that they're going to destroy the country. The Democrat Party is no longer the party of the Kennedys and the party that we all grew up with, that they're now communists and that they are intent on destroying the country. When you have two very well-respected, lifelong Democrats like that, especially a Kennedy, who is like RFK's son, okay, very respected. When you have somebody like that telling you this, you got to pay attention. And you got to say, what would make RFK Jr. walk away from the Democrat Party? Things have got to be really bad there for him to walk away like that. You know, and it's not speculation. He goes through it in his speech exactly why he walked away from the Democrat Party, exactly why they're dangerous for America and they're going to destroy this nation. So absolutely go check that speech out. And I also saw Tulsi Gabbard, another one that we've talked about on the show that I absolutely adore, Tulsi Gabbard. She also has endorsed Donald Trump. That was another woman, lifelong Democrat, who ran for president as Democrat and turned against the Democrat Party because they're not the party she grew up with. They're a bunch of commies, you know. She's the one, if you remember correctly, when she ran for president, that she ended Kamala Harris's run for presidency in 2020 before Kamala Harris could even get a single vote. She made her look so bad in the debate by bringing up her record as a prosecutor and the horrible things that she did just made her look stupid. And Kamala Harris had no answer for it. And it just completely destroyed her campaign and ended her career, supposedly, as a presidential candidate. And then Joe Biden picked her as vice president because he promised he'd pick a black woman. And so he picked her, you know? And that kind of gave her chance to run for president again. But I think that what Kennedy is doing is incredibly brave, in my opinion. Because you got to understand, his own family has come out against him now. The other Kennedys have come out and are talking mad shit about RFK Jr. because he's siding with Trump and because he's siding against the Democrat Party now. So that takes guts. These people are trying to destroy him. They're saying all this stupid shit about him that isn't true, and they're just running his name into the ground. I can tell you, RFK Jr. was one of the most respected people in the Kennedy family that's still alive. One of the most respected up until he decided to run against Joe Biden in the primary. Then everybody started talking shit about it. So don't believe the bullshit that they're talking, because he was looked at as the future of the Democrat Party. The work he has done as an environmental lawyer, the work he has done against the pharmaceutical companies, he's the real deal. And what I'm excited about is two things. One, that he's going to be helping Trump, not just in the election, but with governing. Okay? He's going to be helping Trump dismantle some of this deep state bullshit that's going on that's against we the people. Now, whether that's going to be like head of Health and Human Services or something like that, there's going to be something that RFK will be leading up. Some agency, some part of government that he's going to be cleaning up. And that's really cool to me. A lot of the cures that already exist that are not released to the public are going to be released to the public because of what RFK and Donald Trump are doing. They talked about that at the rally. I'm really excited for that. Also, another thing I'm super excited about, Trump promised. Now, we all know when Trump makes a promise on the campaign trail, he keeps those promises. He did it in 2020. Everything he promised on the campaign trail, he did as president. Okay? He promised the American people, and he promised RFK Jr. on stage, in public, on camera, while RFK Jr. was standing right beside him. He promised him that as soon as he's reelected as president, he takes it back over in the office, that he was going to release all of the JFK files, all of them. We'll have every bit of information the government has on the JFK assassination. So we will know who did it. We will know who was involved. We will know everything. Now, RFK has given statements in the past that he has looked into it. He has investigated it. He has got his contacts in government that have passed the information along to him. And he fully believes that the CIA killed his uncle, John F. Kennedy, and probably had a hand in killing his father, RFK. Okay? RFK Jr. has stated that publicly on many occasions after extensive research into it and looking into it with people in government. He has said that is what he truly believes happened. And we are actually going to get that documentation. It's all going to be released and unclassified when Trump gets back in office. And I am super, super stoked about that. That's one of those things that I've studied most of my life as well. And I have never thought that it was just Lee Harvey Oswald that took those shots. I think there was a definite conspiracy to kill Kennedy, and I think that our government was involved. And I think we're finally going to find out exactly who it was. And I am so stoked about that. So I want to throw over to Old Boy, because Old Boy was a RFK Jr. voter. He was somebody who was going to vote for RFK in the election if he would have stayed in. So I'd like to get his opinion on what has happened, what he thinks of it, and anything else that he wants to talk about since he's here with me. So, Old Boy, go ahead, brother.
Well, you're forgetting one thing. Jill Stein's still in the race, and she's still got 2%. And she's talking about how the Democrat, she actually won in court in New York that she's going to be staying on the ballot because they're trying to get her off because she's getting in some places, she's getting, but in the national, people don't realize some of the people who went from RFK, they're like 1%. Now she's getting about 2 to 3%. And she's not going to win, but that could help whoever but the Democrats are trying to keep her off the ballot too. That's another one, and she's talking about, I don't know if she's going to get out, but if she did, she won't go for Kamala Harris, and that's another 2%. It's probably going to go to Trump, and that's what they're really worried about right now. Because a lot of people don't realize, a lot of people ain't talking about Jill Stein, and because at one time she only had 1%, but now she went to 2. But 2% means a lot. You guys don't get it. Some districts she's getting 6, 7%, and others she's getting 5 or 6. Those votes can help somebody get over the edge. And that's what they're worried about. They're trying to keep her off because if she stays on, even if she doesn't go for Trump, she's going to take votes away from Kamala Harris. They're worried about that. They're really worried about her now because of RFK. Don't listen to what they're saying. You're right. You see right now, Kamala is winning by 5%. No, she's not. I've looked at the actual thing. Trump's winning by 2%. On the odds right now, they got Trump at 51-49 because of RFK. The RFK has already changed things more than what people want. Now they're going to make him look bad. I already know what they're doing. You know what? I don't care what anybody says. The brainworm thing before this, people get, and the bear thing, everything that they're trying to make this guy look bad. They're even saying that he tried to go to Kamala Harris 2 weeks ago, and he said he never did. And they're saying that he tried to join with them, and that's why it didn't work. And he went to Trump. No, he told the truth, and they didn't like it. He told the truth that Biden wasn't able to run the country anymore, and they didn't care, and they made him look bad, and didn't even want him in. And he actually went to court, and they were trying to keep him off the New York ballot. He did fuck up in California, where he said he was running here or something, and he tried to run there. I know that part that he did mess up on, but it doesn't matter. The point is, they try to keep him from debating Biden. Because if people would have seen that in the first place, and I think that was stupid by the Democrats anyway, they should have let him because they would have got him out there. Kamala probably would have had a chance to probably win this because they would have had a couple more months of not letting her talk. A lot of people are start calling out she can't do what Biden did. The difference between her and Biden was 78 years old. He could get away with it. She can't. People are calling her out. Even people who are Democrats are calling her out. Even her own party are now. They are going to debate on September 10th. Trump did to some degree agree some of the stuff on ABC, but he wouldn't go with everything, and she had to agree to certain things too. She doesn't want to do Fox, and he doesn't want to do NBC, and I get it. Both of them are smart on that. That's a good idea, because we both know that Fox is going to go after her, and if he goes on NBC, he's going to do the same shit he did the last 2 years ago or 4 years ago when he got in a fight with the other guy the whole time. And that was absolutely ridiculous because that's the one thing that pissed me off during that first debate is Trump was too worried. They were arguing back and forth, not even getting, and it made Trump look bad. And it did. The first debate, I'm talking about the first ever one between him and Biden. The second one was a little bit better. The third one, we know who won. He made Biden look like an idiot. And I think that he's smart because I think he got some kind of deal, but I think eventually they're gonna have two debates. I heard they're gonna debate again. I still think that they're not. I think she's going to get out of it somehow in 2 weeks. And they're going to keep pushing it to the October to the point where she only gets one debate to try to make herself look good. But I think he's going to get her to do debate the second time because the Vince and what's his name are going to debate October 4th. I don't know if you heard that. They're going to debate one time. So that's going to get into October. And I could care less because I don't like either one of them. Um, but I really like RFK. It's pretty bad, and it's only some of his family. Some of his family has defended him. Oh, his other sister defended him, saying they were just bashing him because he won against the Democratic Party in the first place and went independent. And I was really hoping. I really like the girl that was running, going to be his vice president. I like her. She has a lot of energy, and they're turning on her. And this is what they do. Remember, Elon Musk was a Democrat. RFK was a Democrat. Trump at one time was a Democrat. They didn't have no problem taking his money, and this is where I'm going to call people out. They had no problem taking his money when he was if Trump was a Democrat right now, you think they hate him? Some people already knew how he was. With women, he's always been a dick, dude. We all know that. No one's gonna be here. James ain't gonna defend him on that. He's always talked shit to women. He put women down. He's always been that way. He's cheated on his wife. We all know that. That's not that's not honorable stuff. And he admits he was wrong, but he did do that shit. And that's something that people need to realize. He was a part of the Democratic Party. If Obama didn't embarrass him that one day during that press conference saying he'll never be the president, you would have never had Trump be the president. People need to realize Obama's the one that started this shit when he had to say that, and that pissed Trump off, and he went over the edge and he actually ran again. Because he originally ran, it was a disaster when he first ran. Then he actually went and won. And the second time he barely lost, and there's disputing of what really happened, and there's always going to be that. James has an opinion on that, but he's not as far as the Q people. The Q people went a little way too far, and he doesn't represent Q. Q is a whole different. We never really get into them. Um, that's the Alex Jones crap, and that guy went way too far, and he still does because he's saying I seen shit he's saying. Believe whatever you want, and like with him, you know what? If you follow him, that's your business. I tell you right now, that's one guy that on the right, he's on the right, very right. He's one guy you don't really want to pay attention to. Um, I'm talking about Alex Jones. Some people say James is like him, and he's not at all. Not at all. James wasn't telling people to call Sandy Hook parents and attack them and tell them that they didn't die. That's just stuff that he went too far, and I've never really cared for him. And in that debate with Paris Morgan, where he's sitting there screaming at him about gun rights, he made himself like an idiot, dude. And no, Ted Nugent used to be all right too. He kind of went a little too far too. It just Jesse Ventura I like, but he goes too far into the government too. They're all crooks, and I believe some of the stuff he's saying. But after what happened with him and the wife from the sniper, I kind of have my opinions on him, and so does a lot of his Navy SEAL people. What happened? He sued that woman that had her husband die. So I don't know if you heard that story. That's a story we'll get into. Jesse Ventura eventually. I don't hate him because he has a point. There shouldn't be billionaires and the trillionaires in the world when there's people starving. I do agree with that to a point. Um, but I think that RFK was doing what he wanted to do. I think he knew he was never going to win. We all knew he wasn't going to win, but he has a big hand in what's going to happen now. And I think that the DRC was all good. And I don't know if you've seen Bernie Sanders kind of made some comments that didn't help Kamala Harris or the Democratic Party. I don't know if you watched that, but he said it. Both sides have millionaires who are putting their money into elections and shouldn't be. I don't know if you've seen his, and I sent James that thing he talked about how he was forced out because of this. And you know what? They were pissed off at him because he actually didn't have he didn't just go after Trump like everybody else was. Everybody the whole time was Trump. Bernie said a little bit, but he also started saying shit about millionaires and billionaires on not just the Republicans, he said the Democratic, and they were pissed off. You guys can watch it. He actually took some shots at some people there, and they weren't happy about Bernie. Bernie Sanders, I will tell you, some people don't like him. He's a socialist, whatever. But one thing about Bernie is he'll say what he's got to say. And that's where I was very worried about him and Trump debating, because Bernie's kind of like, I think that would have been a very interesting one there because Bernie's not scared of anybody. I'll tell you that right now. He kind of, and when him and Biden went in, I think he owned Biden. That's just my opinion. But I think Bernie and Trump would have been a very interesting debate because I think Trump would have had to do his homework on that guy because Sanders is, you ever seen him? He's a batty guy. I know James isn't the biggest fan of him, but he can talk. That's one thing he's good at doing. He knows how to talk. And I think that's what worried Trump more than he worried about Biden because Biden was already losing it by then. But I'm just showing it. I'm not saying I agree with him, but Bernie's always never kept his mouth shut. So they don't like that. And you know what? Bernie's an old school Democrat. He's starting to see stuff that's changing now. It's not the same. Even Dianne Feinstein started agreeing with some of the stuff, and they got mad at her for uh, hugging Lindsey Graham, and they've been friends for 50 years. That's how bad it's got. that you can't even hug your colleague. I'm talking about Democrat, Republican, Independent. It's to the point where you can't be friends with anybody no more. They don't want you. You're either bad or you're good, or you're good or you're bad. And we were never supposed to do this ever in elections. If back in the day, yeah, you voted Democrat, yeah, you're an asshole, whatever. We joked around. It's got to the point it doesn't matter who you vote, because if you don't, you say I don't vote, people are going to be mad at me. Oh, you should have wrote. So if I vote Republican, I'm a racist or I'm a Trump supporter. If I vote Democrat, I'm a commie and a traitor to the United States. And 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 if I vote something else, then your vote doesn't matter, or you're helping one or the other side. Like I said, if I vote, I'm going to vote for who I want to vote for, and I don't care what anybody thinks. I'll vote for Mickey Mouse, but I'm still going to vote for certain things that's coming in my state because of rent. But I think it was a good idea. I think it helped Trump a lot. I think it took a lot of her momentum away, because I think it threw a wrench in her plans. And I'm just being honest. This is me. I'm not a big Trump fan. I think it changed the moment. It's halt her momentum, because I'll be honest, she was getting a lot of momentum, and it kind of halt her. And I don't know, when Obama was there, she hid in the plane. He didn't endorse her right away. A lot of people don't realize he's not happy about her being in. He could pretend to. It took him almost 3 weeks to endorse her. He was trying to find somebody else. So a lot of people got to realize they don't like each other. They never really have, and it is what it is. That's their thing. But anyway, to get rid of Trump. And that's one thing I had an issue with. That's all they talked about. Trump, 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 Trump. It was nothing else but Trump and how to stop Trump. And it's still going on. I don't know if you heard it. They're saying that X8 he had, he's going to debate the turnout if he loses again. He's going to dispute it. And I like the comeback. What's going to happen if he wins? What are you guys going to do? That's what he's kind of coming back on. I like he's kind of come back now. What are you gonna do if he wins? What are you gonna do? He said you're gonna do the same shit. So right now, I don't know. If you look at the odds, the Republicans are taking the Senate back. They're 83% chance of winning. I'm going by the odds and the Rutgers. Right now it's 51-49. The Republicans are barely saving the House, but I won't be surprised if that flips. But if Trump wins, we already know they're going to either try to stop him from getting the delegates, or they're going to impeach him as soon as he's in office. They'll find some way. We know it. We know it's coming. Or the worst scenario for Kamala Harris, she wins the presidency and the Senate, and the Republicans get the House and make her life a living hell, and they will. But I will tell you this. This is something I'm going to predict. No one's going to get full three. No one's going to get all three. The presidency, the House, and Senate is not going to be it's not going to be a landslide. It might be a landslide for the presidency, but I think the Senate and the House will be split. And I think that the president, right now, I still think, and I know people are going to be mad, and it's not. I think Trump's going to win, barely, but he's going to win. And I think the Senate's going to go Republican. I think the House is going to go Democrat. I don't think anybody's going to be I don't think it's going to be all Republican. I don't think it's all Democrat. And it doesn't matter who wins, because it's going to be a stalemate. Because if the House goes back to the Democrats, they're not going to let Trump do anything. And the Senate's going to block everything. And even if they get the House and they win the presidency, if the Republicans get the Senate, they probably are, they're not going to pass any laws. They're not going to let her stack the courts. So the next 2 years, we're going to have the same shit that's happening now. And if Trump wins, they're going to do the same thing. Say they get the Senate and we keep the House, it's going to be the same thing. Where they're not going to give them any bills. They're going to just down it. We're just going to be sitting here for 2 years. Everybody, we got to realize every election, it's always doom and gloom on both. I'm saying everybody's side. The worst case scenario, I will predict this. No one's going to get a straight three, but I also think there's going to be a lot of controversy. It doesn't matter who wins. If he wins, is going to be they're going to say he cheated somehow. Russia was involved. If he loses, he's going to say they cheated. They got votes in. I'm not saying that I'm agreeing. I'm just showing you the example. Whatever happens in November there's going to be controversy. And I don't know if you saw, Pennsylvania said they're not even going to be done for 2 or 3 days after the election. So something's happening, James. It's coming. So something's happening on either side because Georgia just got their votes thrown out. So did Arizona. I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm predicting this. I give Trump 60-40 right now. I think, actually, I'm going to give it, I think it's 55-45 Trump. I mean, actually, I think it's very close. I think he's going to win, but I think they're still going to try to. You saw the stuff that was going on in DRC. That's just a preview of all the, all the protesting you're going to get. You talking about the Republicans? You're going to see what's going to happen when Trump wins. It's going to be the opposite. They're going to do the same shit for at least a year, and it's going to get bad. Watch, guys. I'm just telling you. I'm telling you. And James can agree with me on this. If Trump wins, you know this, they're not going to be quiet about it. So that's all I got to say. And it's very interesting, RFK. And the thing I will say, I'm pissed off at the guy at CNN for making fun of his voice because he's got, his voice crackles sometimes, and he fucking made a comment about it. He got in trouble for that shit. But you hate somebody, that's fine. But don't make fun of somebody's physical appearance or physical traits. That was really low. And it was really sad CNN said that because they were pissed because he went that way.
It doesn't surprise me. They're fucking scumbags, dude. They're absolute fucking scumbags. So it doesn't surprise me at all that they would do some ignorant shit like that. But you mentioned Georgia and Arizona. They have proven now, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that there was fraud in the 2020 election. They have proven that Trump won Georgia and Trump won Arizona. That election was absolutely stolen. Just like I've been saying ever since that election happened. I've been saying exactly what now has been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt, that Biden and the Democrats fucking stole that election through fraud. That's exactly what they did, and that's exactly what they're going to try to do again. And you're absolutely right. When Trump does win, it's going to be fucking riots and all kinds of crazy shit going on. And the problem we're going to have is Biden is still president. So it's going to be up to the governors of the states to call in the National Guard and crack down on that bullshit. But the problem is they're not going to be rioting in Republican states. They're going to be rioting in states the Democrats control, just like they did last time. And the Democrat governors will not do anything about it, just like last time. And it's going to get horrible. But here's what people need to understand. That's not a reason not to vote for Trump. That's a reason to vote for Trump. Because we got to stop this bullshit. Yes, they're going to throw a temper tantrum like the petulant children that they are. Yes, they're going to riot and burn shit down and act like fucking assholes. But we're in the next Revolutionary War now, people. That's what this is. People talk about a civil war all the time. This is not a civil war. This is another revolution. That's what this is. And these fucking assholes are trying to destroy our lives. And they're trying to take away our rights and make us fucking slaves. And we're not going to take it. We're not going to fucking just sit here and allow you to burn our fucking cities to the ground and act like assholes anymore. It's not going to happen. They're going to try. But we're already seeing, and I can show you 1,000 different videos now. We're already seeing people starting to stand up against this bullshit. And when Antifa, them little pussies, and fucking BLM and all these assholes show up, and all these pro-Palestinian dickheads now, these pro-Hamas, pro-fucking terrorism bullshit assholes, when they show up, a lot of these places, they're getting their asses handed to them. Because the shit of them acting like bullies and like little fucking Nazis and pushing people around and hitting people with shit, those days are fucking over. We're not going to stand there and expect that the cops are going to help us anymore. We're going to kick the shit out of you. That's what's going to happen. And that's what is happening over and over and over again. Whenever these assholes show up and they start shit, they get their ass whipped. And that's what should fucking happen. And I'm going to tell you this, I'm not for violence. I don't want a civil war. I don't want any of this stuff to happen. But if these fucking people are going to show up and they're going to riot and they're going to try to harm people, you got to stand up. You got to fight back. You cannot allow that shit to happen. You cannot allow somebody to beat you with a bat or a golf club or whatever the fuck they're going to be hitting you with. That's fucking ridiculous. That's the mistake that was made in the last riots. Everybody expected that the cops were going to protect them. So they didn't stand up and do anything about it. They just cowered in their fucking homes. This is it. This is the last one. If Trump loses this election and Kamala Harris wins, that's it. We're done. America is fucking done. You need to understand that. Everybody listening needs to understand that. You think it was bad before? I mean, they've already let in about 20 million illegals. They're destroying the fucking country. You think it was bad before? You wait until they get another 4 fucking years. By the end of the next 4 years, they're going to have another 20 to 30 million illegals in here. You're talking around 50 to 60 million illegals that they're going to give amnesty to. And they're going to have voting Democrat. We're never going to have another election that's even close to fair again. They cheat every fucking election. It's been proven now that Trump had the 2020 election stolen from him. That Biden never should have been president. That has been proven. The paperwork has been filed. They're going to try to do the same thing again. At what point do we stop allowing them to steal the fucking elections? Look what they did in the primary. Do you realize that Kamala Harris is running for president? She has never in her fucking life gotten a single vote. Never. Never a single vote for president. When she ran in 2020, she dropped out before the first primary was even held. Because Tulsi Gabbard just destroyed her in the debate and brought up her actual record and what she really did. And it destroyed her campaign. And she never got a single vote in this election either. Biden got like 14 million votes or something. And they didn't give a shit. They forced him out. What about all those people that voted? You just disenfranchised 14 million voters. And everybody acts like it's not a big fucking deal. Like it's just perfectly fine. That they basically did a coup on Biden. They forced him out. They told him, you either say you're not running again and you can remain president for the rest of your term and Kamala runs. Well, they didn't say Kamala runs. They wanted to have an open convention so they could choose somebody else. You either do that or we're going to invoke the 25th Amendment on you and kick your ass out of office. That's what they threatened Biden with. That's documented. 100% true. And then Biden, as a last fuck you to them, he dropped out because he didn't have a choice. But he immediately endorsed Kamala Harris as his successor. And that's why Obama never endorsed her in the beginning. Why it took him weeks, because they all were planning on having an open convention and choosing somebody else. They got stuck with Kamala because Biden put her there as a final fuck you to the people that forced him out. They never wanted Kamala. Obama didn't want her because he said she can't win. Why do you think she's not doing interviews? Why do you think that she's trying to weasel out of the debate? Because the second she opens her fucking mouth, you'll know what she actually stands for, because she's an idiot. She can't fucking have an intelligent conversation without fucking up. She's a downright communist. If you look at all the policies that she has put out, which hasn't been many, all of them but one were stolen. She stole Trump's tax on tips. She stole the child tax credit idea from Vance. And the one that she put out that was actually hers was the communist price controls. And I covered that in another episode. That is communism. That is straight out of every communist country that's ever existed. They've done that. That is a communist principle. If you want to know what she stands for, look here on the channel. I've put up multiple things that she's from her own mouth that she's actually said when she was running in 2020. That's just pure fucking communism. That's what these people want. And I'm telling you, we got to win. There's no option. If we don't win, this country's over. They will destroy it. It's almost there now. They have destroyed our economy. Your retirement isn't worth shit anymore because of inflation. Why do people just sit back and accept this? I don't understand. And about the polling, real quick, and then we'll wrap up. So this doesn't get to be super, super long. The polling is bullshit. If you actually look into the polling and you look at who's being called, who's being sampled, they're way over sampling Democrats. A lot of these polls are D plus 5, D plus 7, D plus 8. There's even some that are like D plus 13. And what that means is they are oversampling Democrats. They are calling 13% more Democrats than they are Republicans in order to get the result that they want. In some cases, they will ask the question, who are you going to vote for, Kamala or Trump? And then Trump wins by like 4 or 5 points. So then they say, okay, well, let me ask it this way then. If you are only worried about diversity and race and gender and all that, who would you vote for? Well, in that case, Kamala is up by a point or two when the question is asked that way. So then that's what they'll run as a poll. And then when they do polls where Trump is way up, they just don't publish them. If you want to know the actual state of the race, look at Rasmussen. Rasmussen is sampling D plus 1 right now, which means they're sampling 1% more Democrats than Republicans. But Rasmussen is the most accurate pollster. They were the most accurate pollster in 2020 and 2016. And they have Trump up anywhere between 4 and 5 points nationally. And they have him winning a lot of the swing states. And his electoral college is somewhere around in between 300 and 313, depending on which poll, because they're doing nightly polls. So depending on which polls they're doing, that's what he's winning by, is like anywhere from 3 to 330. But right now, I think the latest one is like 313, as when we're making this video, is his electoral college total. So Trump should win and should win handily. And I also disagree with old boy that it's going to be a split Congress, because the Senate is obviously going to go to Republicans in this environment, because it's very favorable to them anyway because of who's running for re-election this time. So there's very little chance that the Democrats will win the Senate. I mean, we're talking single-digit chance. It's not going to happen. So you're going to have Trump as president. You're going to have a Republican Congress. Now, in order to have a Democrat House, what that means is that a lot of people that voted for Trump as president and for a Republican senator would have to vote for a Democrat House member. That's just not something that happens very often. Usually, if you're voting for a Republican president, you're going to vote Republican down the ticket. Because why would you want to vote for the opposing party so that your guy that you want to be president can't get anything done? Most people don't do that. Now, you have some that do every once in a while. But in order for the Democrats to win the House and have it be a split Congress, the majority of people that vote for Trump are going to have to vote Democrat for the House member. And that's just not going to happen. It never has happened. It has happened before sometimes, but it's very, very rare that it happens. And I don't see that happening. I think what we're going to have is Trump as president, Republican House, Republican Senate. That's what we had in 2016. And I think we'll have that again. The question is, what will they do with it? You know, Trump kind of knows the good guys and the bad guys now. He's got some experience behind his belt now. He understands who's with him and who's against him a lot better than he did in 2016. Will it be easy? No. They're going to cheat like a son of a bitch. You're going to see all kinds of shenanigans like you did last time. You're going to see pipes bursting. You're going to see, oh, we ran out of ballots. Sorry. Oh, the power went out. We can't vote today here. You're going to see bullshit like that happening. So what I would say, early voting is going to be starting before too long. I would say get your vote in early, guys. The Democrats do it. Why can't we? In your state, whatever the early voting is, I'm not talking mail-in. I'm talking they do early voting where you can go to the poll and actually cast your ballot before Election Day. Whatever the law is in your state, whatever that period of time is, go ahead and go before Election Day, cast your ballot, get your vote in. That way it's in. Because on Election Day, they're going to do all kinds of shenanigans to try to fuck the vote. And they're going to cheat their ass off like they always do. So if you want to make sure that your vote is in and counted, go early. Do it early voting. And a lot of people worry about that, but you can go straight to the website of the voter registration office in your area, and you can check it and make sure that your vote was in and that it's counted. Okay, so you can actually look it up and make sure. Whereas on election day, you can't do that. So they could just completely fuck you out of your vote. And they did that last time. So with that being said, the basic topic of the show was RFK Jr. I think what he did was super brave and selfless. You know, he really did it for the love of country. And I think that's amazing. Because people need to realize all he had to do was stay in. He had enough of a percentage of vote that if he would have stayed in and gotten that percentage on election day, then that would mean that his party would be an official third party. That's important. That means debate stage time. That means that you get government funding for your party, for your convention, for all that kind of shit. It's a big fucking deal. You cannot have a third party if you don't get recognized that way. Okay, now he has the opportunity, if he gets enough of a percentage of vote, for that to be an official third party that gets matching funding and all that, as same as the Republicans and the Democrats do. That is a big, big deal. And for him to walk away from that, drop out and endorse Trump the way he did, he is giving up the opportunity to actually have a third party that might be viable at some point in the future. That's what he's giving up to do what he's doing. That takes guts. And that takes honor. You know, he's doing that because he feels that strongly that the Democrat Party today are actively trying to destroy this country and take away your rights. And you got to respect that. You know, I don't agree with RFK Jr. on everything. There's a lot of issues I don't agree with him at all on. I am much more to the right than he is. I am much more conservative than he is. But I'll tell you one thing, I respect the hell out of that man. And I respected him before he dropped out and endorsed Trump. I've talked to Old Boy about that before. Tulsi Gabbard as well is a former Democrat. I don't agree with her on every issue. I'm way more to the right than she is. But I respect the ever-loving hell out of her. I said on a previous show I'd have voted for her if she would have been running. You know, because I really respect her. And I respect RFK Jr. And I really like his vice president as well, the lady that he chose. I don't remember her name offhand, but I really liked what she had to say, you know. And so that's where I come down on it. Go to YouTube. Check out the speech where he drops out. Check out the rally he did with Trump. You got, for nothing else, just see the entrance. It was fucking amazing. That entrance was phenomenal. I pray for our country. I really do. Because the Democrats today, guys, they're scary. They're communists, and they've got this anti-Jewish, pro-terrorism Hamas thing going on that is just fucking crazy. And they do what all communists do. You're not allowed to disagree. If you try to disagree and speak your own mind, they shut you down. They silence you. You know, they censor the shit out of you. And we can't stand for that as Americans. So with that being said, we're going to wrap this puppy up. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you. We love you, and we'll catch you in the next one. Till we speak to you again. Love many, trust few, and do harm to none. God loves you, and so do we. Bye-bye.